Welcome to the Orbital Pulse. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Daniel Vila, and I'm a project engineer who's currently attending Harvard, trying to understand how public policies shape the space sector. In my day-to-day, I find myself at the intersections of business, defense, technology, and policy. And through this channel, I hope to share a little bit of that experience with you. First and foremost, we need to ask the question, why space now? The reality is that the space domain is moving faster than ever. Between daily rocket launches, the proliferation of hundreds of satellites, unfolding policy decisions, and increasingly advancing technologies, it can be hard to make sense of it all. But we have to try our best because these decisions and these actions are defining and redefining how we operate on Earth and above. Space isn't just somewhere out there. It's a very real place, and it's part of our daily lives. Have you ever gone to an unfamiliar location and depended on Apple or Google Maps? These apps are enabled by global positioning satellites. Have you ever checked the weather forecast? That's only possible because meteorological satellites are overhead 24/7. Have you ever sent money over Zelle, traded a stock over Robinhood, or even just tapped to pay with your card at a coffee shop? Behind the scenes, atomic clocks on satellites are continuously synchronizing our world. And here's the challenge. Space is getting contested, crowded, and competitive. We have an ever-increasing dependence on space. And so we have a good reason to make sure that our satellite assets are safe. We have money flooding into the space sector, leading to advanced technologies. And ultimately, we have more actors in, from, and to space. The Orbital Pulse exists to cut through the jargon, to connect the dots, and to explain how space activities might be impacting you. When we talk about actors in the space sector, you can think about it as three interconnected pillars. First, we have civil space. The Aerospace Industries Association defines civil space as the exploration of space, advancing space and aeronautics technologies, and observing and understanding our solar system and home planet, including the Earth's climate and weather. This largely consists of government agencies and FFRDCs, or federally funded research and development centers. For the United States, this includes organizations like NASA, its Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. International equivalents include the European Space Agency and Japan's Aerospace Exploration Agency, better known as JAXA. These types of organizations are peaceful, and their missions are broadly focused on exploration, science, technology, and outreach. They expand humanity's knowledge, drive fundamental research, and inspire the next generation. Next up is commercial space, and this one requires a little bit of context. For decades, government agencies and federal funding led our space endeavors, from sending astronauts to the moon or to the International Space Station, and even building the James Webb Telescope, which can see billions of light years away. These were all government-led. Over the past 2 decades, private investments have skyrocketed in commercial space to historical highs. With billions of dollars flowing into companies, they can leverage the speed and efficiency of the private market, innovating technologies and providing consumer and industrial markets with the goods that they want. In commercial space, you can kind of lump players into 3 buckets, though there is some crossover at times. In one bucket, you have the traditional giants like United Launch Alliance, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman. And in recent decades, we have the second bucket, which has been termed new space. And this includes players like SpaceX and Rocket Labs. But in really the last decade or so, we're starting to see hundreds of startups building everything from new propulsion systems to even satellite towing. This is pretty cool stuff. These commercial space companies are backed by private investors, venture capital, and even sovereign wealth funds. And they're pushing for lower costs, faster timelines, and more innovation. This new commercial space is constantly evolving, and it's providing new business models like asteroid mining, orbital debris cleanup, and even solar power stations on orbit. Finally, we have military space. On the 20th of December in 2019, President Donald Trump signed the National Defense Authorization Act, which officially created the United States Space Force. For many years, the US military used space for communication, navigation, and intelligence. But in many ways, the structure was decentralized, and in some ways, it was passive. Many senior military leaders recognized the role that space had in active military operations. But it wasn't until the creation of the Space Force that this sentiment was widely recognized, or at least broadcasted. Now, this guy is General Chance Saltzman, and he is the second Chief of Space Operations of the United States Space Force. At an Air and Space conference in 2024, he told the audience an important reality. The peaceful use of space may no longer be assumed, yet our nation depends on space every day, both for national security and for our prosperity. The Space Force secures our nation's interests in, from, and to space. That's our mission, and now that mission must be accomplished in an era of great power competition. The newly minted United States Space Force, along with its allies, monitors space traffic, protects satellites, deters aggression, and integrates satellites and space operations into our modern defense. Without space defense systems, our military and civil operations could grind to a halt. We're living through what some people call the second space age. The first one took us to the moon. This one is about sustained presence, global competition, and integrating space into every part of our life and security. It's no longer just about exploration. It's about governance, economics, diplomacy, and defense. And the decisions that we make now will shape our Earth and our future for generations. This is why at the Orbital Pulse, we believe that space is not just for insiders. We believe it's for people who want to see where humanity is headed next and be prepared for the future. All that being said, here on the Orbital Pulse, I plan to bring you weekly breaking news and analysis on the latest launches, contracts, and headlines that are coming from DC and abroad. I hope to bring you deep dives explaining orbital mechanics to the best of my ability, space strategies, and emerging technologies. And finally, I hope to bring you interviews with policymakers, operators, engineers, and industry leaders who are shaping our future in orbit. I'll do my best to keep it accurate, balanced, and clear so that you can follow the heartbeat of the space domain without getting lost in the sauce, like I know that I do. So stay with us, because the more that you understand space, the more that you'll understand today and the future. I'm your host, Daniel Avila, and this is the Orbital Pulse. I'll see you in the next video.